What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and of course, you know we typically feature a beer of the week. Man, sometimes we just feel old, and that's the way life goes. And today we're going to feel old because we're going to take a trip down memory lane, and we're going to talk about Disney's release 30 years ago of The Lion King, with our good friend Richard Nebens, who writes for the Direct, direct.com, MCU Direct, all that good stuff. He's been on the show before, and so he will be joining us today. Man, it's always good to get to talk to him. And then, of course, dude, Lion King is a staple in just about everybody's household. Doesn't matter when you're born, all of that good stuff. So please, by all means, if you like what you're hearing, subscribe, like, share, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, smash that subscribe button on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it may be. Drop a review. Let the people above us know that you enjoy what we're doing. We would really appreciate it. And then if you feel so kind, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews is how you can support the show. On July 29th, we will be sitting down with our Patreons to watch the very first Fantastic Four movie featuring Chris Evans and Jessica Alba. So make sure, if you want to be involved in that, you can support the show for as little as $1. Now, I am Matt.
I'm actually wondering if I should have some fun facts for that. Should I have fun facts for that on Patreon?
I'm always down for fun facts.
Drop the fun facts while we're watching, because it's not like Madam Web where we're just like watching it for the first time. Just you know what's really funny? Before we even get into what we're not drinking, my dad for Father's Day weekend this past weekend, he goes, "Oh, I actually watched a Marvel movie this weekend," and I looked at him, I go, "Please God, don't tell me it was Madam Web," and he started laughing. He goes, "It was." So the only other Marvel movies my dad has seen are the Thor ones, and he watched Madam Web. I'm like, you really should go watch Iron Man and watch them all properly. Okay, so yes, I am Lauren, the other half of Hops Geek News, and I'm so excited about this movie. It does matter when you got into it because you're more important if you watched it live in the movie theater.
Continue. So you're on fire. Keep going. No, well, keep going. Yeah.
No, I don't want to get into too much of the grit of it until Richard's with us. But, you know, everybody always wants to peep Matt's fit. If you're on the YouTube, you got to peep my fit. I even got little ears. They're little Simba ears that, like, go over my head so I can be a mighty king. And I'm working on my roar. Okay. I'll post a picture, too.
No, you are ready. I can't wait to talk about this. But first things first, if you know anything about this podcast, man, we love to talk about news and notes and what we're drinking and what we've been reading or watching. So before we can get into the good bits of it, man, Lauren, we're saving our beer for the next half of the episode. So why don't you go ahead and talk about what you might have been reading or watching lately?
So first, I'll do my Nerd Initiative reviews. One I got, which I hadn't heard of, this is Dark Horse. They're on issue 3 of Helen of Windhorn. This one is pretty cool. It's written by Tom King, and the art is done by, I don't even know how to say this, Billiqui Evely. The art is absolutely gorgeous. The story, the first 2 issues were kind of building it. Basically, it's like the 16-year-old girl who, this is like early 1900s. Her father drank himself to death. Well, not to death, but basically drank himself to death, then killed himself. Her grandfather goes and sends somebody to come pick her up. She's an alcoholic. She's addicted to cigarettes. And then she finds out like grandpa's rich, but there's more to it because there's something going on outside and there's this whole other fantasy world. And she's learning more about grandpa and like getting excited and realizing these fantasy books that her dad had written might actually be true. But what's really cool is they go back and forth to the future and the past because these books have since been made into a movie. And then people are like interviewing the caretaker and like wondering, wait, did this really happen? No, this can't really happen. So it's gotten really, really fun. I highly recommend that one. And the other one is Black Panther Blood Hunt. Actually, you reviewed the first one, right?
Did, yes.
So I ended up with the second one. Writer is Sherilyn Eaton. Artist is Fareed Karami. I mean, this is blood hunts going on all over Marvel right now. The Black Panther was actually cursed by Blade, so it's a little bit extra. But this one isn't just about vampires, like, because I reviewed the Union Jack Ripper one too, which is all about vampires. This one was more so about gods, and the gods didn't do something they should have done years ago, and that's impacting what's going on now. So that's all I will say without saying too much. This is only going to be a 3-issue run because it's connected to an overall overarching story. Of course, you can just read this or you can read all of them. As far as what I have watched, The Boys. So you can go check out our review on the first 3 episodes on our most recent Cantina Hour, or you can go to Nerd Initiative where I put my non-spoiler review there. We will be spoiling the crap out of it on the Cantina Hour. Cantina Hours are always spoiler filled. And I did watch the first episode of House of the Dragon.
Ooh,
and I really don't know how to
feel about that because I never finished the first season. I'll be honest with you. I was out.
So what's funny is Josh put it on Sunday night after we had been on the boat and, drinking all day. And I was making the graphics for one of our episodes at the same time, and I wasn't paying much mind. And then I was confused. So then last night, he fell asleep right away. So last night we watched a recap on Nerdist. They had a great recap of season 1. And then we put on the first episode. So I was like, okay, I'm all caught up now. I remember everything now. And I mean, it's kind of just more of the same so far. I don't want to spoil it for anybody because it's so early in the season, but it's just more of the same. And I just feel so bad for Viserys. So all he wanted was all of his kids to get along and grandkids. That's all he wanted.
Yeah, honestly, like that's why I mean, I was just kind of like out on it. I don't know. Like, I just like, I think Game of Thrones. So I was talking to Charlie and he was like, dude, I'm so excited for this tonight. I was like, I guess I would be more so, but the way Game of Thrones ended, period, just like kind of left a really bad taste in my mouth. And so for that reason, I was just kind of like, I couldn't get into it. I didn't finish season 1.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, just didn't finish season 1 because I had a bad taste in my mouth from it. And I tried and I was like, this is going to be different. The Dance of Dragons, everything is really exciting. But yeah, just,
well, I mean, at least you know where it's heading, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I know what happens. And so I think that, yeah. So I didn't really get into it. But I only really watched a couple things. Obviously, The Boys, which we're talking about on Cantina Hour. So if you missed that, you can go back and watch our Cantina Hour on YouTube if you would like, where we talk about The Boys episodes 1 through 3. I might do some Acolyte talk this week. We'll see. Lauren's going to be out doing some fun stuff. And then I watched The Lion King, of course, and read a comic book for nerdinitiative.com called Uncanny Valley by Tony Fleeks, Dave Wagner. And it's a really, really good, cartoon meets real life. I've talked about it on here before. It's by Boom Studios. Highly recommend checking that out. So by all means, check those out. But I've had a light week. I haven't really had time to watch or read anything. So I'm really excited to get to Lion King talk. So let's roll into some news real quick. Just a little bit of news. Smile 2 will release October 18th. Another movie that I was kind of out on. I thought the ending was kind of lame. It's a horror movie. This one has Naomi. I forgot her last name. She's from Power Rangers. She was a Jasmine in the new Aladdin movie. So she's in it. And then aside from that, man, I'm really not on my game today, apparently. Geez, I'm forgetting everything. But Spaceballs 2 actually is in the works with Mel Brooks and Josh Gad set to produce. That's a sacred property right there, man. Lauren's muted. She's trying to respond back to me. And what were
that
you
one
saying?
I don't know how to have the feelings for that one. I mean, Spaceballs was like, I fell in love with Spaceballs and watched it on repeat before I ever watched Star Wars.
I agree. Like, I don't know. It's very sick. I love it. It's a parody. Let's see, man. I'm always open. Mel Brooks is involved. I like Mel Brooks, so I've got some high hopes for that one. And then my last bit of news is that Peacemaker season 2 will have a new opening dance segment. So forget everything you learned about Peacemaker season 1.
They can't make it any better than the last one.
In James Gunn we trust, my friend. In James Gunn we trust.
That's fair.
What is the little bit of news that you got?
I don't really have too much. So Dead Boy Detectives has been ranked 9th best show on Netflix. However,
how is it not renewed, man?
I don't know, but Ruth O'Connell, who was in Dead Boy Detectives, she's Rowena in Supernatural. She actually tweeted out like, renew Dead Boy Detectives.
Good.
So hopefully
the only way she's getting work.
And then Furiosa is coming to digital June 24th.
It's pretty fast. It just came out Memorial Day weekend, and it's already coming to digital. But Inside Out 2 is doing really well. My kids went to go see that. And apparently they loved that. There's some new emotions. And apparently Bad Boys 4, is what we're on right now, is doing pretty well. A lot of people love that. I haven't been to the theaters in a minute. Breaking the Holy Trilogy, or the Holy, my holiness. But haven't had time, man.
I will see Inside Out 2 this weekend.
Yeah, the kids loved it. Carrie loved it. Apparently it's doing really well in cinemas. I know that cinemas has been down. Like I said, Furiosa is coming to digital already June 24th. So cinema's kind of been on the downward spiral, but we'll see what happens.
Well, you know what?
Nothing's truly.
We almost went this past weekend, but we're like, how much is it going to be for all of us to go see Inside Out? It's going to be a shit ton. It's
expensive. It is. That's the hardest part. I mean, for a family of 4 to go, you're paying at least $100+ to go to a movie. I mean, because you don't have to get snacks, but it's the movies,
oh, Josh
man.
No, Josh won't do the snacks because they're so expensive.
I mean, I got to get the bunch.
And then I always get looks when I get a beer. He never gets a beer either.
Yeah, it's expensive, man. You take a family of 4 or 5, it's downright expensive. it's almost like a cost of a 1-day pass to Disney at this point. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Summer movies heating up. And with that said, speaking of summer movies, let's throw it back now to everybody's first, not everybody's first love, but man, this is like one of my favorite movies that I watched on VHS repeatedly.
It's the best movie ever.
It kind of
better than Con Air.
Ooh, them fighting words. You calm down.
No,
there.
They're not fighting words. I will take.
All right. Well, when they find your body down being trampled by a bunch of water buffalo, just
you
remember,
mean wildebeests, you uncultured swine?
You know, it's all the same. They're all big animals. So
it's not all the same. The wildebeest.
All right. Fine. Let's leave and head to Pride Rock right now and be joined
Simba's down there. Simba.
by our friend Richard Nebens. We will be back in a moment. Ooh. Can you feel the love tonight? I sure can, because we are back with some not so terrible renditions of, you know, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? But we are back talking Lion King. Our boy Richard Nebens is back with us, man. We will get to him in just a minute because, you know, we are talking the 1994 film The Lion King starring Matthew Broderick as Simba. We've got Whoopi Goldberg as Shenzi, Robert cannot pronounce his last name as Rafiki, but Jeremy Irons as Scar, James Earl Jones as Mufasa. Dude, this movie is stacked to the brim. And
Mr. Bean as Zazu.
Yes, Mr. Bean as Zazu. Dude, we can go on forever, but I want to give you, I don't know why I find this as funny as I do, but my beer of the week is Drive-By Juice by Three Roads Brewing Company. Now, I chose this for the name alone because I kind of feel like Scar ran a drive-by on Mufasa in the whole, like, so like, I don't know, man.
Too soon.
I feel like it's really funny to me and to me alone, but it's a 7.6 ABV IPA, double IPA actually, from Lynchburg, Virginia. And yeah, you know, drive-by, I thought it was funny. It was funny to me, but Lauren, I'll let you save the booze. I've seen what you people cheer. What do you got over there, Lauren, with your little Simba outfit going?
So, I actually have so I've been ragging on sours lately, but it's the puckery sours that have been killing me. So I haven't even tried this yet. I just poured it. It is from Tripping Animals. You can see the little warthog on the cover, which When
I was a young warthog.
When he was a young warthog.
Very nice.
Let's just say very nice. Thank you. So this is called Hungry Hog. It is a pie-inspired sour conditioned with strawberry, pineapple, papaya, raspberry, lemon, graham cracker, and vanilla. So that's why I'm giving it a chance. And because of that super sweet label.
That's amazing.
I haven't had a Tripping Animals on here in a minute. And obviously they're a great brewery. And you can see the glass. Their main go-to dude looks like Rafiki.
Look at us, matching glasses, except for mine doesn't have that cool artwork.
Oh, it smells very good. All of their beer is phenomenal. All of their artwork is phenomenal. They have had quite a few different Lion King themed ones. So I'm gonna have to try this.
Well, you know, I dressed Mickey Disney. That's what I did from Roosevelt's. But
very sour.
Dudes, everybody, I would like to welcome back one of our favorite people on this planet Earth. Richard is back to talk the Lion King. Man, long time no see. How are you doing over there?
Doing great. You know, I mean, firstly, I love the fact that we're talking about this movie. You know,
yes.
Lauren and I were talking earlier. It's one of easily my favorite Disney movie of all time. But more importantly, I'm just glad to be back on with you guys. Like, I feel like I know you guys so well, and this is only like the third or fourth podcast we've done together.
Okay, but we shared a very lovely embrace in downtown Disneyland. All right, did that mean nothing to you?
It was Universal Studios, my friend.
That's right. That was right. It was Universal. I'm sorry.
You're talking about a Disney movie and you messed that up.
Clearly, I didn't mean it. Didn't mean it.
The shame.
Yeah, that was so fun. You know, that was so fun hanging with you. I met, even besides you, I met so many people on that LA trip. I mean, it was a trip just to go see a screening of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is the first podcast we ever did. Actually, no.
Yes.
Yeah,
I can't remember now, but don't worry because we're gonna be doing a whole ass Fast and Furious franchise here soon. Don't worry, Lauren.
Oh yeah. And that one,
as long as I don't have to drink Corona, that's fine.
You can have whatever you want as long as it's a Corona. Actually,
I have a Corona koozie, so sure.
but no, I love you guys, and you guys are always so much fun to talk to. I know we've done Ted Lasso and Ant-Man, and now we get to do a classic, but one of the best classics ever. So I'm excited.
And we started planning this months ago. I think you and I went back and forth about Lion King, and I'm like, oh my God, we definitely need to do this as an episode.
We actually did plan it the last time we were together on this podcast.
Literally last night, when Laura and I started talking, we just started going back and forth. Like we just like, oh, we could probably quote this whole movie, and then we just started from the beginning. That first scene.
What it was.
We got like what 5 or 6 lines in before we realized at this rate we're going to be going all night with this,
Right.
and we should probably stop now because
I can do this all day.
It was like, what's that movie you can quote? Like if somebody held a gun to your head, or you could win $1 million or something like that.
I can do way too many of those, to be perfectly honest. But Lion King is definitely one of them.
It is. Well, Lauren, why don't you kick us off before we get into where we first were, our very core memories of the first time that we watched this beautiful, beautiful film. Why don't you hit us? You got some fun facts in the notes, and I know you're dying to give them. So what you got?
So Lion King is actually overall the number 57th highest grossing movie with $968,750,709. Wow. And again, this movie came out in 1994. So sadly, what I thought was interesting, I didn't even list it here, but the live action one made more money.
Well, inflation.
It's because yes, 100% inflation, but it's because it was riding the coattails of this.
Absolutely.
So the overall movie, obviously, we see inspiration from Shakespeare's Hamlet, but there are also elements of Egyptian mythology. So the Isiran family myths of ancient mythology were mixed in here. King Mufasa mirrors Osiris, who is killed by his jealous brother, who is Seth, basically.
Scar!
And the rightful heir, Simba or Horus, is sent into exile as a boy. The murdered king visits and mentors his son in ghostly visits. And when the heir comes of age, he returns to get revenge on his murdered father, which is funny. I don't know how much we're going to go into Lion King 2, but Lion King 2 is Romeo and Juliet. So I think it's kind of funny that like the first
straight up
one's
Romeo and
Hamlet.
Juliet adaptation.
It is.
And then 1.5 is Guildenstern and Rosencrantz.
Oh. That one's so good. So underrated.
Yeah.
But do you want to do some of the fun facts? Because I feel like I'm going to have a lot.
All right, I got you. So the very first sound you hear was take 1, and the only take that they did for the actual first
crazy.
Sound.
We're talking about that. Ah, Sawenya.
It's
wow.
animated too, which is
first take. That's insane.
Did you? That's how you know you got some fire on your hands. If that like, hey, no, we're good here. Like, all right,
do it again. Nope. Go
back
home.
it up. Back it up. We got it. So. Dude, when the brainstorming began, Rafiki was a cheetah, actually, and Scar was leading a pack of baboons, not hyenas. I'm glad they changed this because it doesn't work, obviously, if he's a cheetah. Like, that doesn't make sense. Why would a cheetah be mentoring a lion?
So knowledgeable. I know, clearly
cheetahs
baboons
never prosper.
Is he though? Is he though? And in a room full of animators, almost all of them chose to work on Pocahontas over the Lion King. So the newer animators worked on the Lion King, and others that were begged to do it. So this was actually the B team, while the A team worked on Pocahontas. That's
Pocahontas was known. Lion King wasn't like.
Well,
that's true. I mean, Pocahontas is great. Like no offense, Pocahontas, but it ain't Lion King. I'm sorry.
It's great, but I'm sorry. Pocahontas is not on the Mount Rushmore of Disney films. When you're talking like, what's your favorite Disney film? I've never met somebody that said Pocahontas. I'm sorry.
No. I
love that movie.
My top 10.
Great movie. But yeah, no, it's certainly
Miko
not
stole
there.
the show.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but before I throw it back
Rocket
to Lauren,
Raccoon came over. Now all the raccoons are just Rocket.
Yep.
So before Elton John was asked, they actually asked ABBA, but they turned it down and said this was not the project for them. Ernie and Nathan Lane were trying out for the Hyenas. However, they turned into Timon and Pumbaa. So they heard them going back and forth and kind of ad-libbing a little. And they're like, oh, that's our Pumbaa and Timon. While pretending to eat bugs and whatnot, they were eating things such as chips and other snacks. So they were actually eating. These two did do some improvisation, including, what do you want me to do? Dress and drag and do the hula? Which got a roaring laughter from everybody. And the test audiences loved it. And everybody immediately was like, yes, you're going to play ukulele and you're going to do this. And like, they ran with it.
That's amazing. I'm so happy that's improv.
Oh yeah.
So I guess there was some talk about them wanting to do the Staying Alive instead and doing a whole John Travolta Staying Alive, but then it tested so well with audiences with the Dress and Drag and do a hula that they didn't even then touch the Staying Alive. That would have made sense. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I might have froze out there for a second, but that is amazing that is improv. Like it makes it so much better.
But I mean, Nathan Lane, you can't even be surprised. But yeah, the improv always makes it better because then it gives the characters, I feel, more of that personality.
Yeah.
Totally.
So Ernie apparently in between takes when he was bored, he was making fart noises on his hand, which Nathan Lane thinks that's how the character ended up becoming so gassy. And funny enough, Pumbaa is the first Disney character to ever have farted.
I knew that. I think I had heard that one before. Yes.
I didn't. The wildebeest scene was made via a computer program that they had to create, and then real lions were brought in for the animation. Animators also watched the actors do lines, which is why they look like their voices. Again, art.
I love how Disney does that, where they make them look like the people. I love that.
I do too. And Hans Zimmer was hesitant to work on a children's movie, and this changed as the project progressed. And God bless this man. And Morning Report was written for the '94 movie, didn't get used, then was used in the release of the DVD and the Broadway show. And last, but certainly not least, many of the names were Swahili. So Simba means lion, Rafiki means friend, Pumbaa amuse, Hakuna Matata, no trouble. Lies, it's no worries. And the opening translated from Zulu, here comes a lion, father. Oh, yes, it's a lion. A lion we're going to conquer. A lion, and a leopard come to the open place.
That, I think, is the funniest, like, behind the scenes note about this movie is, you know, you get this, like, arguably one of the greatest openings in the history of film. And it translates to, yep, there's a lion.
That's lion. See that? Lion.
Everything's prettier not in English. Like, it's just
English kind of sucks when you think about it. Like,
really
it's like why can't we have a more fun language to speak?
I just love the fact that you're right, because when it translates, it's just like a Midwestern dad. Lion. Yep, that's a lion. There you go. Oh, there you go, bud. Lion. Yep. Like that's what it is.
Who wrote this poetry?
It's art. Like I said.
I was actually in South Africa. That's where we went on our honeymoon in 2011. And it was funny because there's a brand of chips named Simba. And I'm like taking pictures of all these bags of chips. I found a big truck that said Simba. Yeah, it just means lion. And I'm like taking a picture. We found a bar called Rafiki's, which just means friend. So I was like, and I did find a postcard with a warthog and it said Hakuna Matata. And I asked somebody, I go, does this translate to no worries in there? They go, kinda.
You're stupid. Yeah. Cow.
You know, at least it's closer than some of the other translations that we've heard in movies. At least it's in the ballpark.
True.
Yeah, they get the point across.
Yeah.
This beer's getting better. It's good. At first I was like, it's a little too sour. It's good.
I love this IPA. But Rich, guest of honor tonight, man. I gotta know, give us the first time you remember watching this film. What is your story behind falling in love with the Lion King?
Well, it's so funny with me. I was kind of teasing it before we went on. I honestly don't remember the actual first time that I've actually saw the movie, but my mother has recalled it to me a few times because
when you were your warthog.
Yeah, because Matt and I are about the same age. We're 1990 kids, and so I was 3 when this movie came out, and so we went to the theaters when I saw this when I was like either 3 or 4 years old, and apparently my mom kept telling me that. My mom tells me that I kept on asking to go to the bathroom because I was so scared of the movie.
Okay, but it gets scary at parts though, like the whole bone scene, and then the whole like boom, boom.
I mean, most of the stuff is Scar, and I mean the straight up, Nazi Germany stuff in.
Oh my God, they weren't even discreet.
It's scary,
they were not discreet. Like I watched this again maybe like a week or two ago, and with my wife, and we're just like. Yeah, they weren't discreet about that at all.
At all.
But I will say, I do remember a time actually seeing it in the theater because I don't know if you guys remember when they re-released it. Like
I saw it. They re-released it on IMAX in 2003, and they re-released it 3D in 2011.
Yeah, they released the either like 2010 or 2011 because I remember seeing
2011. It was right before I was South Africa. I didn't even have to look these dates.
You're gonna argue with a girl in a lion costume on this podcast? Come on.
Fair enough.
It's hard to take you seriously right now.
I remember I went to, I think it was the movie theater near the Fenway Park because I was in Boston at the time for school. So I went to see it by myself, and I had a blast. Yeah, I cried my eyes out a couple of times, even though I'd seen the movie 1,000 times. I knew every word. And that was just so fun. And this movie has become just like a staple of my life. Like my mom always jokes with me, the last thing before I pass back to you guys, that she didn't see about half the movie because I was in the bathroom half the time. Aww. But then she realized that she would be seeing it a gazillion more times over the course of my mother's lives.
This dropped on VHS and I watched it. I don't remember the first time I watched it. I mean, God, you're right. We're the same age, like 3.5, 4. Like nobody's going to remember that. But dude, we ran that VHS back. Yes, kids, there was VHS players. You had to manually rewind. It was a whole thing. Yep. And I ran that baby dry because we watched The Lion King non-stop. It was a staple in the household. Absolutely incredible. You know, I would put it up there right around the Celtics winning the 18th championship banner. You're welcome. But Lauren, you probably remember your first time because we were much younger and you probably remember it. So you're just, again, I can't take you seriously. This is the first time I've ever seen you dressed up like this. I'm loving the energy.
Excuse me 1 second.
As Rich falls asleep on his second place Lakers pillow, and I got the green Celtics behind me, who just won their 18th championship banner, by the way.
Congratulations. I don't know when we're ever going to be good again. Let's move on.
What do you got, Lauren? When was your first time?
God, Matt, you really just brought it down.
Watching the movie, okay? Watching the movie. Your first time watching the movie. I don't need to know the other stuff.
Okay, so I vividly remember seeing the trailer because the trailer was just the song. So I don't know what movie it was, but like I remember seeing that in theater before I even saw the movie.
There's a lion.
Yes.
It had to be that song, right?
Boom. Because I was like, what is this movie gonna be? And like, you know, Beauty and the Beast, not Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin had just come out. And like, you know, that's my brother's all-time favorite. And you know, I can quote that one very well as well. So it was like, what is Disney doing now? Because they were boom, boom, boom at the time. It was Little Mermaid, it was Beauty and the Beast, it was Aladdin. It's like, what's coming next? So I was 10 and I remember driving to the movie theater because we went with my mom's friend and my mom wanted me to ride with her because she thought I knew how to get to the movie theater. I did not. She had to make some U-turns. But I remember sitting in the theater and watching it. And actually that scene with the fire where they like do like the smack across the face and the smack back in my head.
Oh, yeah, the final fight.
Yeah. In my head, I'm like, and I think because I'm 10, so I feel like I'm so grown up. I go, wow, this is a really scary movie for little kids. That was like my first thought of that. And then, you know, I loved the movie then, and I really fell in love with the art. But obviously, when it came on, I remember the day it came on VHS. And I'm weird about dates. It was February 28th, 1995. And the reason I partially remember is because, one, I'm weird with dates. And two, is we had lived in Jacksonville and my mom had just gotten remarried. And so we moved to St. Augustine. And that was the first day I went to school in St. Augustine. And when we came home and the movie had come out, my brother and I are begging my mom to buy it. And we had been saving money for a Sega. So we took the money out of our oatmeal thing and she went and bought the VHS and we watched it twice that night.
Okay. Nice. And real quick, did you ever play the Lion King game on like
yes, and I could never. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was about to think. I was about to say the ball. That was Aladdin. No, I was thinking of Aladdin. I could never get past the fucking ball. But no, I remember playing Lion King. I'm not very good at video games, but I definitely played it. And I had the handheld one.
I remember the Hercules. I remember the Hercules game and I remember the Tarzan game. The Tarzan game, I ran into the ground. I went through that so many times when I was a kid.
Today is the 25th anniversary of Tarzan.
Oh, nice. Another one of my favorites.
Me too.
Tarzan and Hercules and Lion King are like three of my favorites. Yeah. I will gladly.
All I'll say about Tarzan before we dive too far into that, Phil Collins did not have to go that hard on that.
Oh my god,
yes,
dude!
He did it for us, and
that is so good.
Okay, I'm glad you bring this up because I want to segue this into.
This is I'll allow it. I know you.
We're in like the golden age. Like Disney used to banger after banger,
and the 90s were just,
dude. The Lion King. So I was looking like the Lion King soundtrack sold 7 million copies. Like for a movie soundtrack, that's actually in the 90s.
They had the Pride Rock one too. I had both.
Right.
It's really impressive. So like, I want to know, because I was sitting here thinking this today. I was, you know, it kicks off and then we just it's song. I'm like, oh, that's my favorite. Oh, that's my favorite. Oh, that's my favorite. And I was like, they can't all be my favorite. Do you guys have one song? I think I've narrowed it down to my favorite song. I'm not going to say it yet, but I want to hear you guys. Do you have a favorite song off of this film?
Mighty King.
Ooh, I want to be a mighty king.
Okay.
I just remember like singing it with my friends and being so like upbeat.
That's true.
I've got a favorite, but I've got a fun moment with another one.
Oh, yeah.
I think my favorite has got to be Hakuna Matata.
That's fair,
that one. I was just singing that.
That's mine too. That was gonna go like, without a doubt, because you just like it means no worries for the rest of our day.
Actually, it means no problem.
Yeah. Well, what do they know?
But then my fun moment with another one. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? The image I have in my head of that song is my wedding. Actually, my wife, me, her sister, and my brother were just belting that song in the middle of a dance floor. This was in 2018. And I just remember, especially the ending part with Timon and Pumbaa, we were going so hard on that song. Like,
oh my God, yes.
Us in the middle of the dance floor, because, you know, she's a little bit older than me and my brother's about 3 years younger than me. And we were going so hard on that. And that is one of my like top 5 moments for my wedding. It was just so much fun.
That's my wife's favorite song off the thing. Like, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? That's her jam off this. And I'm just like, but seriously, like this entire soundtrack is so good, because I mean, you start with the, you know, there's a lion, and then you go into, you know, they were singing, and then we get the dark song. It's like boom, boom.
Yeah.
Oh,
be prepared.
Like, be prepared. And then you're just jamming and jamming. And then you get back up to the upbeat, man, because it takes it that downturn. And then you got like the dramatic music, and it's very like first of all, like Disney loved to traumatize us kids with parent deaths, right? And then we get upbeat, like, first of all, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who was like a heartbroken in the 90s. He played young, Home Improvement, one of my favorite shows growing up. Yeah. And he, you know, we see his transition. Oh, dude,
that's what it was.
It's so good. So, like, let's talk about our favorite scenes then, because I want to roll into that, because there's a lot to go right off the bat. I mean, we open up with that scene from Pride Rock. Boo, doo, doo. And then you roll into like Scar messing around with Zazu. You missed the king's birth. Oh, and then it's like, I'd be a monkey's uncle. And then you get the heartfelt moment between Mufasa and Simba after they go down to the Badlands, and they're having that dad, you know, I just think about it. When he's, I think of my kids. Killed. I think of my, as a father now, I'm like, my kids were watching this with me on our recent rewatch, and I was like, see, that's me, man. And I started thinking,
you gotta
like,
listen to your parents.
All I'll say is I'm scared, like, whenever I have kids, for the first time I watch this when I have kids, like, because my wife and I joked about this, like, with all the Disney movies and stuff, that we're just gonna be like in a puddle of tears half the time for all these old Disney movies.
Yeah,
asking what in the world is going on.
Well, see, Lion King, they put it on, and my kids are like, "Can you shut up?" I'm like, "I can't. I'm sorry. I'm trying really hard."
It's one of those things. Like, you subconsciously just like start going off, and it's like, I can't help it, man.
It came out on VHS when I was in middle school, and my art teacher played it because the art, like, she loved the art, and she's like, "I want you to watch like Nala's tongue drinking water," and like she would comment on certain things. But when it was the stampede, she left. She goes, "I'm sorry, guys. I have to walk out.
I have to go to the bathroom," and you're all like leaving the children alone to watch this massacre. Like, oh my God,
the most traumatic scene of the movie.
This drive-by.
We also watched it in English. I don't know why. We're just like, "Hey, Miss Esther, can we watch The Lion King today?" She was like, "Sure. Okay, great. Thanks."
You know what she was doing? Shall we run for our lives? Oh, yes, let's.
Long live the king. Like, dude, that was such an... I mean, I know up to that point, like, Disney hasn't shied away from killing parents, and they certainly haven't done it since.
Well,
but, like, for me,
we talk
that
recently why they do it? Oh, go ahead.
No, we'll get... I don't remember, we might have, but, like, dude, it was just one of those moments where, like, that death, it realistically, of all the parental deaths that Disney loves to give to us, thank you, Mickey Mouse, that one might have hit the hardest, because you're literally scenes before you're sharing this heartfelt moment between Simba and Mufasa. He's like, "This land will be yours and the stars," and like, "I love you," and he's like, I love that you're my dad," and they're playing in the grass. Yes, and
everything the light touches.
Go to this moment, and then we get Scar, Jeremy Irons, who, by the way, is an actor. Have any of us seen him young? Because I certainly haven't.
Oh yeah, right.
He's always looked the same age.
Him young, James Earl Jones young.
Exactly. So like, he's just like one of those people. Steve Martin, always gray hair, right? And so you go into this moment, and you're just like, I don't think a death has ever hit me or any of us as hard. So I'm interested to see your guys' thoughts on the famed scene of Mufasa. Take us away.
I agree.
I couldn't agree more, honestly. Like you said, Disney has not shied away from some horrible deaths in the whole time during our lifetimes and long before. But yeah, I mean, if I really sit down and think about it, I think Mufasa might be number one, and honestly, it might not be close, just because like you get the moment of like hope for maybe just a second that it might not be
every
real.
time you
and then,
watch it,
Yeah, and then you see
Get up.
it set in Simba so well that like they do such a good job of like dragging it out, but not too long. That like you every emotion that he's feeling hits you the same way, and like when he starts crying, you're gone.
When he's cuddled up to Mufasa's corpse, I think.
Oh my God, he's like, Dad, get up! Come on, Dad, get up!
Yeah.
And you're just like,
and then he just cuddles under him and cries on him. Yeah.
Well, no, for a kids movie, it's like, what the hell was that about, man? Like, did we?
Yeah. What were they on that think that's okay to show kids?
The B team was maybe thinking Mufasa might have been Disney because they got selected as the B team. I don't know, but like, I would like to talk to whoever and talk to the
whoever traumatized you.
Right?
Who am I coming after?
Yeah, a couple of things there. So one, I don't remember if we talked about it on here on our initiative, but Walt Disney's parents died of a gas leak in a house he bought them, so he always felt responsible for the death of his parents. So in writing it into some of the movies, it was like he was trying to relate to kids who had lost their parents and letting them know, like, hey, you're not alone. But I feel like this was the first death we really saw. Whereas like even Anna and Elsa's parents, we see the ship go down, but it's in the middle of, do you want to build a snowman? Like it's like fun song. But like usually even Bambi's mom, we heard the shot, but we didn't see Bambi's mom go down. Like we didn't see anybody else go down. And you also that music, because they're singing like no king.
Yeah.
And you even hear like right before he says brother, you hear brother. Like he's like brother. He does it again as he does and you hear the James Earl Jones yelling with the growl in it. Like, it's just so, like, just creates that, like, visceral feeling.
Okay, so I got a question real quick. Carrie was like, James Earl Jones here almost sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did you guys get, like, some of that thought upon rewatch recently?
God, no. How dare
I don't know where she came from. I was just like, maybe I was trying to
say, like, even really thinking hard, I don't
want to think about it. Tell Carrie that I don't know. I don't even want to think about it.
Well, let's move on to the happier times where Simba runs away. Right. Clearly, Simba runs away and he is found by a new family, Timon and Pumbaa, man. Everybody's favorite couple of idiots. As you see, I'm a Pumbaa
bowling
disciple.
for buzzards.
And they're eating grub, man. They're living their lives. Dude, oh man, like it's such a great this whole sequence of events with Timon and Pumbaa. We get the upbeat again. Disney brought us right back, man. They really did.
Yep. Yeah, and then anytime you throw Nathan Lane into a movie, I mean, like besides the fact that this movie was just cast perfectly from top to bottom, any movie with Nathan Lane in it is going to be instantly heightened and better.
Yeah.
And him and Ernie Sabella. I mean, I honestly don't really know Ernie Sabella from a lot else besides him being Pumbaa. Like there's a whole thing going on that they're doing the live watch along at the Hollywood Bowl now this summer.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of
the cast.
Dude, I cannot wait.
My brother went to that, and I think probably my family did too because they're in Southern California. I wish I could have been there more than anything because that just sounded amazing. And Ernie Sabella and Nathan Lane they still got it like they never even left.
Right. Yeah, I watched a bunch of the clips. The Jeremy Irons part is phenomenal, but
yeah,
you can also The Nightmare Before Christmas, they did that one too, and that was I watched that one from beginning to end. That's such a cool thing that they're doing to honor these older movies.
I love those. Yeah,
I hate that I just called them older movies, but maybe for Tarzan. If they do it for Tarzan, I need to fly out.
If they do anything in the 2000s, we're just done,
bro. If they hit like Phil Collins at the Hollywood Bowl, come on now, come on.
Again, I don't want to veer off too, but like Lion King and Tarzan, I do feel like there's a lot of similarities just because they're both just gorgeous and these backgrounds are amazing and the stories are just get your heart, but even that though with, oh my God, when Kala's baby dies, like that's
oh my God. That's what I was thinking about when you were talking about the death scenes, like, and then like you don't even see his parents die.
Yeah. Right. They're just in the corner with their feet.
Yeah.
But those songs I almost feel like hit harder because like, Come Stop Your Crying, It'll Be All Right. You'll be in my heart. So I used to like sing that to Kaylee when she was a baby. And then at her high school graduation, they played it.
Wow.
And I lost my mind and I was angry. I'm like, I can't believe they're playing this fucking song. And my mom's like, why are you so mad? I'm like,
it's going back to the person playing the song. It's like,
why would you do that?
Another song that hits so close to home for me. That was my mother and my first dance song at my wedding.
Oh, that's cute.
Retroactively, I can't believe you didn't invite either of us to your wedding.
God,
I know we didn't know each other, but I can't believe
I was an instant invite. I wish that's the problem is like I got married like so long. I mean, so long ago. It was.
I've been married almost 10 years.
It was like,
jeez.
But it was before I knew like anybody in this writing community because I hadn't done anything in this space before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have invited so many people to that.
Everybody get in. We're all renewing our vows. Everybody get in. We're going.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And my wife and I have already planned it. We're going to do like a whole big like comic book and like
we've talked about it too, actually.
And everything.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, no, I picked that song and surprised my mom with it. And I'm pretty sure she started crying. And I think I did too. It was great.
This man's the model son out there. You're way better than me.
I try.
Yeah, we'll have to do a Tarzan one day.
We will.
Yes.
Well, it's 25th anniversary. We might have to.
I know. I can't even believe it.
Yeah, maybe later this year.
I saw that movie twice in the theater with 2 different boyfriends.
Damn. All right. Well, speaking of two-stepping, Simba is currently out there two-stepping out on his pride for Timon and Pumbaa. We get the really cool montage of them singing Hakuna Matata. And then we get the flash forward to Matthew Broderick's Simba. It means no worries. And they're eating grubs. They're just living like kings until Nala comes and kind of ruins the party. And it's really funny because she's hunting Pumbaa. And Timon's whole reaction is amazing. He's like, so you're telling me you know the girl who tried to eat Pumbaa and I.
And everyone's okay with this?
Yeah. You know her. She knows you. She wants to eat him. And everybody's okay with this.
Did I miss something here?
Okay, but Timon's
the best is when he's like, why do I always have to save your
Yeah. Like Timon's
classic Disney cutting out before the perfect moment.
I just love it. Love it so much. Like Timon's expressions, like they hammered it down. Like honestly, animation was at its peak at this point for me because it ages still. Like when you watch this in 1990, I get it's animation, but even today, like watching the expressions of everybody and how I always like quote this to like Carrie or somebody. I'll just like push him down and be like, Pingy again. Dude, like it's so good. It's like this heartfelt moment.
Right.
Man.
I feel like we should be talking about 1.5 while we're talking. Anybody who hasn't seen 1.5.
Oh God, I could not recommend 1.5.
All right, we'll get to 1.5 in a second. I haven't seen it.
It's on Disney Plus. No excuses.
No excuses. It's all on Disney Plus. Now, Simba doesn't realize he's taken the fall. He says, I'm to blame. It's me. I did it. He truly thinks he killed his dad.
He's got his little kid memory. Yeah.
He thinks he did it like this. And then she's like, you need to come back. You're the rightful king. And so she kind of gets the whole crew.
Your alliance.
And we're going to Pride Rock, man. Pride Rock is a desolate place full of hyenas, and Scar is doing his thing. And this really kicks off like some more awesome cinematography. Like we get this big fight. And we get Can You Feel Love Tonight? And then we go.
World.
Yes.
Did Disney do that?
It's a small world after all.
No. Anything
but that.
That's my exact expression. That's my wife's favorite ride at Disneyland or Disney World. Ugh, it's the worst, dude.
The one at Disneyland's not so bad. Ours is not great. The Disneyland one's pretty cool because they incorporate the Disney characters. And in fact, there's Lion King characters in Africa in it.
Right.
That's true.
The one at Magic Kingdom is just what it always has been.
This leads me to some really favorite moments with Pumbaa and Timon, especially where they're kind of backed in the corner. And it's like, they called me Mr. Pig. Dude, it is so good. And they're holding their own, like good on. And it's just this all out battle of the lions.
Nobody calls him Mr. Pig.
Nobody at any time called him Mr. Pig. It's so exceptional, man. Like, what are you guys like watching this? What are your guys' thoughts throughout like this entire final battle? We get the good stuff.
I mean, that scene, the Mr. Pig scene is just iconic Disney. That's something like my dad and I would quote Disney movies to each other all the time.
Especially, yes.
Yeah. Well, every morning he woke up, coming down the stairs, and he'd go, 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck. That was his wake up to me almost every morning growing up, which was great. But then this scene was like right up there with some of the ones that we did often. And then in the final battle, man, it's epic. Intense. I mean, like the flames in the background and the way they did the animation, like the slow-mo and stuff. I love that.
The slow-mo hits, man, with the pop.
Yeah. like
you
with
see the
it
fire
trailing off of them.
going.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, the animation in this movie specifically. I mean, really in all the ones in the '90s, but this one especially. It just it reminds you almost kind of like what we lost a little bit. As much
Yes,
as like
100%. No, I agree.
yeah,
One
as
of my
much as
boomer
today,
takes is 100% that. Yes.
I love some of the movies from today, like Moana. I'll watch over and over again. Frozen's fun. Tangled is probably honestly my favorite of the newer
God,
ones.
Flint
that we
Rider,
watched.
baby. I love me some Flint Rider.
Yeah, and I love them, and like I can't wait for Moana too. But I do miss the days where it was like the hand drawn animation. You could see like the real, like not like the CGI guys aren't talented as ever, because God knows I can't draw anything but
I
stick
can't draw
figures.
for shit. And what these animators are being asked to do are next level. Like this, none of us are talking down to these animators. So I'm 100%
No.
with you.
But you lose
There's
a little bit of the heart.
CGI in
You
the
lose-
Stampede.
yeah.
So I think that they're.
Oh
you know,
yeah,
I love.
I heard something that took like 2 or 3
collaboration.
years to develop.
Yeah, or like Merida's hair, took so long because she has so
And
many
Rapunzel's hair,
strands
yeah.
of hair. But yeah, because it's all amazing. But I agree, and maybe it's just the nostalgia in us because I don't think my kids give a crap. But I feel like that's why I loved Tarzan too. But like I remember being in the Disney store when this movie was still in theaters, and like they had the plates or whatever of like different scenes, and this was one of them with the fire, and me, wanting to get everything in the Disney store. Like every time I got $20 for straight A's, I spent it on Lion King toys before it was in my pocket. And I remember my mom just being like, "You just like eye candy." But what was really cool is so in 2003, when they released it in IMAX, and like I had to go to the museum to see it in IMAX. It wasn't at like Regal then. And what was so cool was seeing it on this giant screen, was seeing the pencil marks because it was so big, and seeing like the giraffe in the background that's not moving at all because it didn't need to move because it was so tiny normally. But it was just so cool to get to see those sketches. It was like it was amazing. If they ever re-released it on IMAX, go see it.
Yeah. And the way it ended, and then we get like the whole heartfelt, like now Simba and Nala, they take their thing, and now I know Lauren's been chomping at the bit to talk 1.5. All right, guys, take us. What you got to say? What's on the mind about 1.5? I haven't watched this in a while. I'll be honest with you. It's been a while since I've seen, because we had Lion King 1, we had Lion King 2. 1.5 actually came out after those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
after both of them. Yeah.
So do you remember I remember seeing the trailer for 1.5, and they did the Lion King 3, and they're like, well, this isn't really the third one because it takes place during it. So Timon ripped the 2 off, and he made it like this thing, and he made it so it'd be like the half to turn it into a half.
They were clever, yeah.
1.5.
Yeah. The marketing is great.
And I mean, shout out to 2. 2's great too. I mean, like we said before,
we got Kovu and
and you got the NUMB, and my mom lost her mind laughing when Kiara took off, and Timon goes, "Somebody needs to get that kid a beeper," because I was in high school at the time, and I had a beeper, and my mom, I just remember her dying laughing at that line because that was my mom always called my beeper my leash.
Yeah. And also, before we get too far, shout out to the Broadway version of this show, of this movie too.
I've been dying to see it, dude.
I've seen it a couple of times on Broadway when I was little. Unbelievably good. It's so cool in theater form. And also, shout out to "He Lives in You," which is originally from the theater show, and then they used it for the opening song of number 2. I mean, great way to bring that back into the movies. But no, Lion King on Broadway, No, Lion King on Broadway is probably one of my favorite Broadway experiences ever. It's so good.
I want to go so bad.
As soon as, I mean, I only saw it traveling. I didn't see it in New York, but like the animals like come down the aisle, and like as soon as
I saw it in LA, and they did that. It was unbelievable. The production value on it. You just
feel so immersed. Like not every Broadway show will go into the audience, and they really. It's gorgeous art. The costumes are phenomenal. So good.
Yeah.
I want to see it again. I've only seen it once.
I want to go. I mean, that's one of my goals, is to see it in New York City. I've never properly explored New York City. Growing up in Boston, even being 3.5 hours to me back then, it's like, 3.5 hours, so far away. Now it's like, I'll drive 3.5 hours and then turn around, come right back. Like
you did that with us in DC.
I did it in like that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's so funny how time changes. But my wife and I, we really want to go and do that properly. So hopefully, after my 6-month hiatus, we can get the chance to do that. But You know, Lion King's one of those things. It just transcends, man. It really transcends generations. It transcends time. I do want to talk about the other films, but I feel like that's almost its own episodes at this point because I want to focus on it being the 30th anniversary of Lion King. Like,
yeah. Well,
it's crazy.
All I would say for Lion King 1.5, if you haven't seen it, it's a fantastically hilarious break the fourth wall comedy hosted by Timon and Pumbaa, and it's what they were doing before the Lion King and during the Lion King and after the Lion King. You want to know why Nala and Simba rolled down that cliff and then had butterflies all around them? That was because Timon and Pumbaa were trying to sabotage them.
The birds.
You want to know why everybody? This will be the last thing I spoil. Why everybody bowed when Simba was being lifted by Rafiki? It's because Pumbaa farted. So these are the major comedy things you get, and it even Stitch makes a cameo at the end. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
People need to go watch this film. Disney Plus.
Yeah. Lion King 1.5, it's almost as good as the first one. It's just so funny, so meta. And one of my quick favorite bits that I'll spoil, the luau, the Hawaiian dancing scene. When they let's just cut to the chase, shall we? Oh, sure. And because you're watching it with Timon and Pumbaa, you're rewinding it and fast forwarding it, and then
and that was
one more line, one more line. I was thinking were you just picking your nose? No, I had an itch on the inside.
The inside, yes.
Oh man, see, this is the thing. I not to sound like a boomer, but it's a lot of this stuff. I just feel like the Disney movies don't hit on the comedic level like that. I feel like they don't. I'm watching obviously
they're
funny and I love them.
But
yeah, they do a great job. But movies like Hercules and Lion King, man, and we're watching this and we're the adult jokes you pick up on now that you didn't pick up on necessarily back in the day. And it's just, dude, it's so clever. The writing from top to bottom, the animation. God, I gush. I love this movie. I can't believe it's been 30 years. Do you want to feel old? Time flies. It's such a good time.
Some of those toys I bought with my straight A money, I still have them.
They used to Burger King.
This was on my cake when I turned 12.
Nice.
You still have those? Wow, I'm impressed.
Well, because I got pregnant at 19, so they were still on my shelf in my room.
Okay.
So they went to Kaylee, then they went to Brielle, and then about 2 months ago, Logan goes, "I don't want these toys in my room anymore." I'm like, "Well, give them back. I have a new podcasting room. They're
mine." It's so good, and it's one of those you can sit down at any point with your kids, your grandparents, your parents, and just relive these memories. And so as we kind of begin to wrap up our Lion King 30th anniversary chatter, I'm going to save the best for last, which is Rich. Lauren, what are your final thoughts about the Lion King?
It's the best movie ever, and anybody who doesn't agree is wrong. And when I was 11 and we got a cat and I wanted to name him Simba, and everybody said we should name him Mufasa because of the Mufasa.
Mufasa.
That cat did not live to see its second birthday, and I think it's because they.
All right, damn, you didn't have to go that far. Shit.
I'm so upset about it. My kids randomly they had pulled out a bunch of old pictures to make stuff for Father's Day, and they hand me a picture of me and Mufasa when I was 13. I was like, "Oh, there's Mufasa."
That's messed up.
I know, right? He had a liver thing. I don't remember what he was. A Hemingway.
Anyways, let's get away from the Debbie Downer over here. And
so this is
death aside,
it's gorgeous. I did my AP art portfolio on Walt Disney, and I just drew Lion King the whole time.
I mean, it really is. It's goated. It's up there in the Mount Rushmore of best Disney films, best films of all time. It really is. It's a movie that holds the sands of time. It really does. It stands. I watched it today even, and it really does withhold time. What
I want to do that. You're four. Maybe that's a future episode. You're four Disney.
That's got to be a future, man. I'm not prepared right now.
Oh yeah. Mount Rushmore Disney movies.
You already know when we're talking
Tarzan, Simba, Jack Skellington,
I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared. I don't want spoilers.
Yeah, right. I gotta think hard on that, but
I do. That's a future episode. So Richard, as we wrap up, my friend, I gotta know, man. Final thoughts on this glorious film.
My favorite Disney movie of all time, easy top 5, top 10 favorite movie ever. It's up there with anything I've ever seen. I can watch it any day of the week and have fun with it, even though I know every line. I love doing all the voices and stuff. I mean, Disney, I don't want to say necessarily Disney peaked with this movie because Disney's come out with some incredible things before it and after it, but it was one of Disney's peaks. I got to give it that.
Yeah.
And like, it's still, like I said, it's my favorite Disney animated movie ever.
Yeah.
And I almost want to turn it on again, you know, just go through it, have fun. And, yeah, it's a great one.
And it's the best Disney on Broadway. Like, I've seen quite a few Disney on Broadway. Nothing compares.
I gotta see it as so bad. So Rich, as we go, man, you do some incredible work out there for the direct. You recently wrote a sports article. You're doing the whole shebang. So let people know like what some things you're working on, where can they find you, dude. If you're not reading this man's works, like, first of all, I will come to your house personally, but
clearly he has good taste.
Amazing. He clearly has good taste. So let folks know where they can find you. Yes.
Thank you. No, I'm on socials usually at Richard Nebens on Twitter, Instagram, wherever. I don't have any cool articles in the work right now, but I am doing something incredibly cool starting tomorrow. I don't know if I don't think I've actually really told anybody this. I am flying out tomorrow to San Antonio for my first ever Comic-Con, and I'm going to be covering it for Agents of Fandom. Yeah, it's my first time ever going to Comic-Con. I am so beyond excited. I don't know if I'm going to get any like interview or like crazy press opportunities there, but I mean, just go to the website, look at the celebrity list for people that are going to be at this con. It's insane. Chris Pine is going to be there. Iman Vellani is going to be there. Tatiana Maslany, Diego Luna. There's so many people that are going to be at this thing. I am so crazy excited to do this. I'm going to be there for almost a week starting tomorrow. And I can't even express how excited I am to do this. This is going to be so fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I have spent 6 weeks at San Antonio. Well, 8 + 6, whatever that equals. 8 weeks I didn't get to explore. 6 weeks I did.
8 + 6, whatever that equals, is 14.
Well, I was in basic training for 8 weeks in San Antonio, and then I spent 6 weeks recently, a couple of years ago. I will give you the places to go off the side, dude. I can't wait to follow your coverage. That's so rad. I can't believe it's your first one, man. I can't wait, especially because you're going to have so much fun, and to be able to hit up a Comic-Con together. Hopefully next year, San Diego or something of that falls into our lap to where we can all just meet
someday
up.
We're all going to be at the Comic-Con together.
We're going to do such rad things. And I really just, anytime is a good time when you swing through the podcast. So thanks so much, dude, for coming through and hanging out with us tonight to celebrate the best Disney movie of all time.
Anytime. Can't wait for next time.
It's going to be sooner rather than later. We're not doing this again. And everybody else.
Tarzan. We're going to trash the camp.
Yes. We do have some episodes to stack. Lauren and I do for some upcoming trips. So who knows what down the pipe. If you want to know what is coming down the pipe, the best way to do it is like, subscribe, share to Hops Geek News, man. Come follow us along on social media, subscribe to the podcast on any podcasting platform, join the Facebook group, join the Discord if you want to sit there and just chat with us. That's the best way to do it. And man, if you want to see a movie for us to talk about, we are all ears. Let us know what your favorite Disney movies are and what your thoughts on The Lion King are. As always,
I'm not super obnoxious with every movie. Just this one, I promise.
Just this one. She doesn't always dress up, folks. She doesn't always get to keep the fit. So I'm very proud of her right now. And as always, Richard, love you, man. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.